Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to talk about Twilight state, Cenestopathy, derealization, depersonalization, hysterical neurosis, Kandinsky syndrome, and Manic syndrome and Delirious syndrome. So let's start. It will be very short video for your better understanding for the psychiatric department. So let's start. And also remember one thing guys, about schizophrenia we have discussed in a different video, so that's a bit longer explanation for the schizophrenia because it's important for the point of view of the examiner. So remember about it. Schizophrenia is in different video, so please watch that video. Let's start with these syndromes. So first is twilight state. So twilight state simply means that a short lasting sudden disturbed consciousness seen in the patient with epilepsy. So we will see some neurological problem in the patient with the seizures and a lot of things, and we will see the twilight state in such patients. Key features are, sir, aggressive behavior. Just remember about the aggressive behavior. Other things are clouded awareness, and one more good finding is here, that complete amnesia after the episode. So the patient after the episode of twilight state will not remember anything, that he do not remember he was breaking furnitures or he was very aggressive a minute ago. He don't remember anything. So disorientation, hallucinations. So the patient doesn't remember that where he is and what's the time right now. So self-awareness and all of those things. Keynote for twilight state is patient may appear awake but acts unpredictably, dangerously, aggressively, and later remember nothing. Simply remember about the keynote, that the patient will react very aggressively and a lot of things he will do. For example, breaking furniture is used in our croc questions. We have to remember that he will not remember anything after breaking that furniture. Let's see the question over it. 32-year-old patient suffers from epilepsy. Suddenly, without any cause, the patient became excited. Objectively, the patient is disoriented in personal identity and environment. Visual and auditory hallucinations are there of threatening content in the delusion ideas of reference precaution. There are expressions of fear, anger, and range on the patient's face. Patient behavior is aggressive. You can see how the question is screaming right now, that the case of epilepsy, the case of the patient, the twilight state is saying in the patient of epilepsy. Epilepsy patient aggressively behaving, what state is that? Twilight state. Here is your favorite question where the patient start to break the furnitures. So what he is doing, he is also suffering from epilepsy. 3 days ago he had an episode of clouded consciousness that started to suddenly accompanied by anger. In his state as speaking nonsense, breaking furniture, hit his wife, and later says that he don't remember anything. So what state is it in this question? It is twilight state. Let's go next. Next is cenestopathy. Cenestopathy, sir, what is this? Abnormal body sensation without the real physical cause. So let's see. The woman saying she is having hole in her stomach, and the examination detect no somatic pathology. Sir, she is just feeling it. There is nothing real like hole in the stomach. And if there is no somatic pathology, so this is the case of cenestopathy. Remember the definition again: abnormal body sensations without real physical cause. Next is derealization. What is derealization? A feeling that external world is unreal, dreamlike, disoriented, even if it is real. So the patient will see the world, the outside surrounding of him. For example, trees are upside down. Let's hear it from the patient itself. That the woman with encephalitis says that everything seems unreal to her, or maybe it's a translation error, surreal or unreal. Buildings are small, round, distorted. Trees are upside down, and people are very, very tall with thin limbs. So she is looking at her atmosphere, that around the things has been changed. The perspective of her looking at the things has been changed. The buildings are different now, trees are upside down now. So the patient see the outside world in an unreal way. So a feeling that external world is unreal, dreamlike, distorted, even though if it is real. So sir, this is the case of derealization. Let's see how the patient looks at himself in the depersonalization. So in depersonalization, derealization, the patient look at himself. In derealization, the patient was looking in the surroundings, sir. Surroundings were unreal. Depersonalization means the patient lost his own personality. So in this case, in derealization, the patient was looking at his surrounding. In depersonalization, the patient is looking at his personality, which is distorted. So let's hear it. A feeling of being detached from one's own body. So thoughts and emotions and how he look at the body will be changed. So this, we have our beautiful woman here who complains that feeling of unreality. Sir, please do not mark a derealization for this question. Although in the first line unreality is written over there, but please read the whole question carefully. That what she says, she stands in front of the mirror and says she recognizes herself, but her hands and legs and face seems to be alien like. She look at herself alien like and they don't belong to her. So sir, which condition is this? Sir, this is depersonalization, because patient look at himself as she is alien like right now. And in the patients of derealization, they look at the surroundings got unreal. Yeah, I hope this will be clear now. Next is hysterical neurosis. Sir, what is this? Sir, this is a condition where the patient will experience some stress or some emotions which will cause physical symptom in the patient, like paralysis or memory losses and a lot of things. Yeah, let's hear it from the patient. So the patient, after failing an exam, has sensation of foreign body in the throat. So we got the trigger. The patient is stressed here because he failed an exam and now he is feeling a foreign bodies in his throat. Difficult swallowing. She reduced her diet, seeking attention, highly susceptible to psychotherapeutic suggestions. So sir, this is the case of hysterical neurosis, in which the patient is highly emotional, highly suggestible, and hyporeal symptoms which are going to see in the patient. So what happened exactly is the patient is just in a severe stress after failing the exam, and he or she is just 20-year-old. So such age group feels the severe stress for the exam things. So and now even though there is no foreign body in her throat, she is feeling like that. So sir, this is the case of hysterical neurosis. Let's see our next syndrome. Sir, next is Kandinsky syndrome. Sir, what happens in this syndrome is the patient believes that their thoughts, feelings are controlled by external forces. That even though if it is not real, but the patient feels that his thoughts are controlled by the external forces. K for Kandinsky, K for control, and the patient feels like he is getting controlled by the external forces. We see in the patient, commonly we see in the patient of schizophrenia, paranoid syndrome, delusions disorder. So we have discussed schizophrenia in a different portion, because that's very important from croc examiner point of view. And there are catatonic stupor, paranoid stupor, vexiflexibility. We talked about all of those things. So please watch the video over schizophrenia. So let's hear it from our patient. Our patient says that he is 28-year-old. He talks to himself. Patient hear people voices which claims that what they claims, they are broadcasted in his head using radio devices. So he is feeling like somebody is broadcasting some voices in his head using some radio devices. Claims that he is having a special purpose in life. Remember guys, in the patient with the schizophrenia also, they claims that they have a special purpose in life. They are the hands of the gods, and by God they claims that they have a special purpose other than the other humans. So some of the schizophrenia patient, I saw that he was writing a book over something, and the book was also filled with some daggers angers, and this was the question over schizophrenia. So remember guys, we see this syndrome in the schizophrenia, paranoid and delusion disorders. This is just like as we discussed the Raynaud syndrome is explained in scleroderma and many more things. So the same way this can be explained in many things, many disorders of psychiatric department. Next, the patient or the examiner says these voices try to control his action. So sir, the patient is feeling, the patient believes their thoughts and their feelings are controlled by external forces. So sir, K for Kandinsky, K for controlled by external forces. I hope you will remember it. Next is manic syndrome. Manic syndrome is, this is the mental state with abnormal, irritable mood, high energy and hyperactive behavior. So the symptoms which we are going to see in the patient: elevated mood, the patient is in the high energy, increased physical activity, sexual activity, mental activity, need for sleep is reduced, because the patient is in the state of hyperactivity right now. The patient will talk a lot, the patient will racing thoughts, or he will think a lot of things within 1 minute itself. So I have highlighted the main key points to remember for you: high mood, high energy, no sleep. This is the mnemonic. This is how you can remember the mnemonic for manic syndrome: high mood, high energy, no sleep. So let's hear it from the patient. 26-year-old patient with the bipolar disorder, some affective bipolar disorder, has developed the condition manifested by mood improvement. We see the mood improvement, behavioral and sexual hyperactivity. So sir, the patient is having behavioral hyperactivity, he might be talking a lot, and sexual hyperactivity. And next is active body language and reduced need for sleep. So we know what to mark, guys. This is the case of manic syndrome. And what you will do the patient, sir, most of the psychiatric disorders including schizophrenia can be treated with the neuroleptics and with the sedative effects. That we need to calm down the patient in manic syndrome. So neuroleptics, whichever will be the first line, you will prescribe to the patient with sedative effect, because the patient is in the mood of high energy right now. So we want to sedate the patient so that he can get back to the earth right now. So I hope this is clear now. Next is delirious syndrome. Sir, what is this? Sir, delirious syndrome after confusion, state with the clouded consciousness, disorientation, vivid hallucination, and delirious and psychomotor agitation. Symptoms we are going to see in the patient is disorientation in time and place. The patient doesn't know that where he is and what the time is it right now, but he will be self-oriented that I am this, and this is my hand, and this is blah blah. So I have wrote the mnemonic for you. The thing which you have to remember: in the delirium syndrome, the patient will be disoriented, hallucinated and agitated. Let's see how the patient complains about it. So a 50-year-old hospitalized in the department, ECG shows MI. The patient is in the anxious, tense, disoriented in place and time, but correctly orient in his own person. So the patient is disoriented about the place and time, but he is self-oriented, right? We see in the symptom portion. Let's read it again. Disorientation in time and place, but self-oriented the patient will be. The patient is correctly oriented is in his own person, experiencing auditory and bright hallucinations of frightening nature. So we see in the introduction portion that hallucinations will be of which kind? Visual, auditory, fearful hallucinations we will see in the patient. Here they highlighted a frightening nature. So they are simply the patient is scared, anxious, and they are of frightening nature. So fearful nature, under the influence of which he is agitated. So we got our point: agitated, prone to aggressive actions. The patient is this much scared that he can slap the doctor itself right now. Yeah. So because he is agitated, he is having some hallucinations related to the visuals, as well as some hallucinations which are scaring him right now. He is in a fearful state. So the patient is agitated and prone to aggressive actions. He can even slap the doctor right now. The patient expressed the delusions. What leading psychomotor syndrome or psychopathological syndrome is here? Delirious syndrome. So remember, with the mnemonic, guys: delirious syndrome, disoriented, hallucinated, agitated. So this is it with this video, guys, and I hope the disorders of psychiatric department are clear to you. Do not forget to watch the video over schizophrenia. I have explained all the catatonic and paranoid stupors very well. See you in the next video.